Sam Richardson, star of one of the best new shows of the season, The Afterparty. First, if you're watching or listening to this and you haven't seen the show yet, why? Go watch it and then come back because we'll be talking about spoilers galore. So for you, especially now that the entire season has been out for like 2 months, how does it feel to be able to talk freely about it and not have to lie and keep secrets about who the killer is?
It's kind of weird because, living with a secret, we filmed this in the fall into the winter of 2020 into 2021. So, to live with the secret of knowing who the killer was and was not, and all that, and not being able to say anything for the longest time because you want the reveal to be a true reveal. You just kind of got used to it. So even in interviews and things like leading up to the finale, you have to be very coy and very specific about your language when talking about the show. So now that I'm always like, can I still say? But yeah, the show's out. It's been out for 2 months now. People know, and it's a relief as well. So I can now just I can talk about the show so freely.
Did you ever slip up at all?
I never slipped up. There have been some times where people have guessed right and guessed right to me, and I hope I did a good job of sort of spearing the ship. So I don't want to say when somebody guesses right, I feel bad being like, not him, because if they guess right, then I'm gaslighting them. But I have to oh, interesting. Why do you think that? Instead of nope.
Yeah, you want to hear their theories because a lot of people have a plethora of theories, out there on Reddit especially. But
yeah, Reddit. The Reddit crowd really dove deep on this show.
Yeah. Well, I know you weren't initially told that Jasper was the killer, and then eventually Chris Miller told you, right?
So when I signed on, I'd read the first 4 scripts, and I knew, and I just knew my character. I knew there was a killer, but I didn't know who the killer was, I knew before we started filming. But from reading the scripts up until just after the first few table reads, I had no idea, and I was surprised.
Well, are you someone who, or did you ask to be told, or did he just was like, oh, hey, by the way, it's Jasper?
Well, it was in the script. Reading the rest of the 8 scripts, it revealed itself within the
okay, so he didn't pull you aside and to tell you.
No, I read through it. I'm glad I did, because I was able to play the game up until the reveal too. Because that's a big part of the fun of a mystery. This maybe one of the biggest fun part of a mystery is to try and figure out who did it, and to either be completely taken by surprise or to have figured it out and then be really proud of yourself for being such a good sleuth. And in my own memory, I'm like, oh yeah, I figured it out, but I don't know if that's true. I think I was worried that it was me for a while reading it, and then I was worried that it was Zoe for a while. And then I think in that last episode, when I started to kind of see the pieces, I was like, ooh, interesting. It might be him, the person of course, it's always going to be the person you least suspect. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because it's interesting, because obviously Anik, your character, is the main suspect from the beginning and throughout the entire season almost. So it could have easily just been you, but also it being Jasper, who is his best friend, there's another layer to it, because it's it could impact your performance, like you were saying, knowing that it's Jasper and you guys supposed to be so close. But then I was thinking, if Danner never suspected you, Jasper probably wouldn't have overcompensated so much to try to exonerate Anik, right?
Right. Exactly. I think because it's so close to because Jasper and Anik are best friends and they're together the whole time. I think Jasper kind of does 2 things. He uses Anik's being the suspect as a shield, so that by exonerating Anik, he also kind of exonerates himself because he's so close to him. But also he spends the time trying to protect Anik and get him out of the way of all this stuff because Jasper knows who the killer is. Jasper knows that Anik is kind of like is prime suspect, so he's got to get Jasper off the hook. He's got to get Anik off the hook, but then also keep the fire off of himself. So he has to like do this sort of balancing act. And then as Anik, the character is there trying to solve the mystery himself with the murderer right next to him the whole time. So coming up with the clues and then feeding the clues to Jasper, while also like trying to figure this thing out. So as an actor, it's an interesting exercise to like sort of have to blind yourself to some of the things that are like right in front of you that are maybe not incredibly obvious to the audience at first go, but they have to be obvious enough for it to be a clue, but also subtle enough for it to be missed. Especially like Anik, who is a puzzle solver, so if some of those things were very obvious, he'd have figured them out. So it was like a whole game, and I feel Ben does a great job of like sort of hiding those things in his performances, and Chris Miller and the whole writing staff and crew of that did an amazing job of like sort of hiding those moments in the scenes and in the script.
Yeah, for sure. Because especially after the finale, like when I watch murder mysteries, like I don't try to solve it myself, really. I just want to find out at the end, and then I go back to see like find all the clues. But there's like little moments like him texting on Xavier's phone, and then realizing like the security camera from the Private Eyes poster. But like you and Ben Schwartz had such great chemistry, and it did feel like you guys had known each other since high school, but you guys hadn't met before this, right?
We had met because like randomly at parties, but I wouldn't say that we weren't friends. We weren't like texting each other like, hey, what's up? Are you gonna like, yeah, I knew Ben Schwartz as I know almost any other actor out here, so meeting him properly on our first day of filming, it was such a quick adaptation into friendship, and I think we really did just become really great, like true buds, because we'd spend so much time together and we would have so many scenes together, and we both have this background of improv. So we've both come up through our respective improv scenes. I came up through Detroit and Chicago. He came up through New York and LA. Me at Second City, him at UCB, both of these places. So we already had a sort of shorthand and a language into comedy and like scene work and like re-improvisation and in improv. So I think we just had such an affinity and fondness for one another just to begin with, that it made it feel like we could play these people who've been friends for 15 years right off the bat.
And it just makes it more painful when it's revealed it's him. That
exactly. I feel like also like trying to spend the 8 episodes making this duo likable, so that you're kind of like, oh, these two, well, Watson and Holmes, and best pals, and then so it kind of digs the knife even deeper when for the audience and for Anik this whole time, when it's revealed what really happened.
Yeah. Well, the format of the show is like every episode is a different genre. So you have rom-coms, and he has musicals, and there's like an animated one for Zoe. But you guys, for multiple scenes, you have to film the same scene or versions of the same scene in different ways for different genres. So besides the technicality of different angles and setups and lightings and costume, you also had to play Anik as how other people perceived him to be in their mind movies. So what was that like?
It was a really great acting exercise, because usually, whenever you're filming anything or performing any sort of play or radio play or whatever, you have to pick the wants and needs and perspectives and all those things of one thing, and then you follow that through, and everything you do is informed by that. So to get to sort of then put on these different coats of paint for these different perspectives, and like then play within the genre, which is in itself a fun exercise, like play genres of whatever the scenes were, but then you're also performing from the perspective of a different person. So however that person sees you in that world is how you behave then. So for Anik, he interacts with everybody. He has like a pretty significant relationship with everybody in the series, because Anik, and that also allows Anik to sort of be the first narrator of the events, and sort of the rom-com is seemingly the most reliable narration, at least first, so that you can get the story and that. But then from Brett's perspective, his rival, but that's the thing. Brett, to Anik, Brett is his rival, but to Brett, Anik is just this like little whiny little guy. So then to play in that in Brett's scene, I'm a pushover. I'm too drunk. I'm a little a little nefarious in like a little moments. But then from Zoe's perspective, he's sweet, but then he's a little bit dorkier than he would have said himself to be. It was like a really fun sort of thing to get to play through the eyes of another character and in the genre, and then to do that in the same sort of scenes and moments. It was
yeah, it's like 8 different versions. You're playing 8 different characters, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Anik also took a lot of abuse on the show. You had a beer ski on you for like, I think like every episode, basically, you fall into a sculpted X with prawns.
Yep.
Your face drawn on with marker, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who tried to pause and like read like your face.
What the thing said.
Yeah, to like look for clues. So well. For that, like how long did it take to get all that on? I'm assuming it was like kind of like sticker-ish tattoos, and then it's just like pasted on your face.
Well, some of them were. It was a pretty lengthy process. I think every day in the beginning was maybe about 45 minutes to an hour of makeup, of getting the stuff on, because there'd be some applique tattoos, but then also there were stamps that had like some of things on them, and then had to like go through with like dork and nerd and I have diarrhea was a tattoo, a applique tattoo, but then like dork and nerd and the cat's ears and like that those were stamps, and then some were done by hand. The idea was that it was supposed to be through the different phases of the episodes, it would have to like either be very thick or very light, because I like at one point I washed it off and was there lightly, and in some scenes I don't have it yet, and so we had to like kind of go through and kind of know when we could shoot what parts for what things, and the marker was supposed to be like this sort of like easily it's supposed to be a look like permanent marker, but then we're supposed to be a solution that you can go over it with and it comes right off, because it couldn't wipe off with water, because I have to like wash it and then have it not come off. So so we did it, and then we put this like special marker on, and then we went to wash it off and it didn't come off with the solution. So we had to like do a special kind of thing, and like that like every day to get the stuff off, it was like about an hour and a half in the chair to get it cleaned off. So I'd have to come in an hour to get the stuff on, not including my hair, and then I have to be there for like an hour and a half afterwards to get all the stuff off after everybody's like left and everything. So I was like, most of the time I was like first one in, last one out, and I felt bad because like I see the crew or like all the Teamsters just like ready to go, and I'm like, I know it's, I'm so sorry.
But my face.
But my face. This is my view to the world. And I was the one that had the beer skis, which meant I had to be like wet all day. I had to get kicked into a pool a bunch of times, and like there's a camera underwater, so then I had to like try and swim.
You did all your own stunts, is what you're saying.
I did. I got hit by a car. And in fact, my friend Horace does stunts for me in a few things, and he came to do stunts on this as well. I felt bad because I was like, I want to do this, so I did like half of the things myself, like getting pushed over the X with
the prawns.
When Ike pushes me over the thing, I did that. I took that hit, and I'm sure everybody's like nervous, like, what if you get hurt? I'm like, yeah, but it's fun. I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, can you spell diarrhea?
I think I can. Let me try. Diarrreaha. Nope.
HEA.
HEA, damn it.
What's there? Maybe that was just like a version that someone spelled in the show, so you just haven't memorized.
Yeah, now it's in my head.
That's it. Yeah. Well, the third episode, the musical episode, Jaspers, you get to rap in 2 shots, an absolute banger.
Yep.
So what was that like?
It was so much fun. That was such a great crew. I mean, Ben does such a great job with like being a musical, to like homing that musical episode of like his 3 songs. But getting to do that one with him was so much fun. Our hands were held very well. You had a great choreographer and a vocal coach, and the music was like all set and everything. But it was so much fun, first off, to get to like rap and do this choreography, and it didn't feel entirely real until you looked in the monitors of like when you're doing the playback and you're like, wow, this is actually like a music video. And like part of the fun and like challenge of it is to like fight the urge to like be cool when you're rapping, because you know, like who wants to rap and not be cool? But Anik isn't cool. You know, he's not cool like that. He's his own cool. But like to sort of like rap, but then like have to get it, to allow it to be nerdy rap, and to have him sort of like still keep his perspective and his point of view was like a fun challenge. And also fun. I got a Sorkin reference in there.
That was a savage line. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I also loved it because it's the song is like, you know, a riff on Lose Yourself, and you're from Detroit. So I was like, and I'm like a huge Eminem fan. I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah. See, perfect.
But also in the high school episode, the 5th episode, there's a hilarious fight between you and Dave Franco at the end. Yeah. And one of your moves is the Sound of Music spin.
It's a spinning slap move. Oh yeah.
So that was scripted. It wasn't like improv or anything.
The fight was completely improvised. We improvised that.
And so then you just did the Sound of Music.
The sound of music spinning attack, and like all the fighting. There's a version of that fight that I think is like 6 minutes long.
We need to release that.
We got to find it. We got to like really pester Chris to release that. But we just had so much fun, like just wrestling and rolling the ground, and like the idea that these 2 guys who are like amped up to fight and then have no business fighting, no real desire to fight, and no skill to fight. True pedestal for
like
comedy.
High comedy, really.
Yeah, high comedy.
Well, it was just announced last week you are returning for season 2. It's set at a wedding, so you and Zoe and Tiffany Haddish are some of the returnees. So what do you know about season 2? What can you share?
I don't know what I can share. I know that that we've got that you know, Zoe and I and Tiffany are returning, and we've got a great new cast. It includes Anna Conkle and Vivian Wu and Paul Walter Hauser and Zach Woods, Poppy Lou. I'm so excited for this new cast, and the show. I think the audience is going to be, and fans of the show are going to be really excited to see what we do this new season.
Well, Danner tried to recruit Anik to help out in the finale, and he turned her down. So did he take her up on it?
That's true. I mean, I guess it's something we'll have to see how that plays out. But yeah. So try not to get in trouble with you know, a murder mystery. You don't want to leave anything. You don't want the fans of this show are such good detectives that I don't want to give too you know, I don't want to.
It's true.
Give too many clues.
What was the wildest theory you heard from all the Redditors?
The wildest.
Yeah.
From the Redditors.
Or anyone, but like they had a lot of them.
They had a lot of them. I think the wildest was that Zoe and I think it's that Zoe and Alana and Zoe's daughter all did it together.
Wow.
How? Yeah. I think the thing was that Zoe killed her by mistake, or I think it's the daughter killed her by mistake, and then Zoe tried to cover it up, but Alana also like was there and also witnessed it and like contributed, so that it was a sort of
It was a team
Murder
effort,
in the,
like cover up.
you know what I mean? Yeah, Murder in the Orient Express, sort of.
Everyone
Everybody
had a
had it.
hand.
Exactly. The
That would have
worst
been
one was
interesting
my
though.
dad's. My dad said it was Mr. Shapiro, and I'm like, you, that would be the worst Deus Ex Machina. This guy.
Well, at least we saw him. It wasn't just like he
Yes.
wasn't just mentioned. So
Yes, exactly.
he didn't just come out of
Exactly.
nowhere. Well, is there one genre you would want to do next season that you hope would be featured?
Well, a genre that I would always want to do would be like that sort of sweeping Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, operatic, like Ang Lee wire move, wire kung fu drama, epic movie. That's what I want to do personally.
You
But
need to
we'll
pitch it to
see.
them. Yeah. I don't know
I
if
will.
they'll let you do all your own stunts for this one though, if that
I
happens.
know.
Yeah.
That's until they do. I hope
We
they
need
hold
to
off.
insure you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, it was great speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time and can't wait for season 2.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so nice to talk to you, and I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.